it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find the content useful, helpful, insightful, entertaining in any way, shape or form, or just because you want to give this channel some like love. Every thumbs up is really appreciated from the bottom of my heart. And if you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. These are in fact real love stories, and I want to give love stories, real life stories. I was going to say they're not all love stories, real life stories. And I want to give a big shout out to Richard today, who's got a copy of my book. Hello, Richard. Yeah, I just mentioned your name. I wanted to say a big thank you to you for buying this book. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I also have another book out, just in case you didn't know. There's not specifically for asexuals, but it's called Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook: How to Manage Fibromyalgia to Have Less Pain, More Energy and Feel Happier Like a Superhero Rock Star. And why am I talking about this on an asexual channel? Because I do mention asexuality in this book. So if you didn't know much about fibromyalgia, it's a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and the muscles of the body usually, but I manage it super well. And so I've written basically my whole fibromyalgia life story in this book of how to decrease your anxiety, overcome depression as well, which is very relevant to a lot of asexuals. And it goes into a lot of details about cutting down on a lot of pain in your life in general. Even if you don't have fibro, it's still a really good read. It's autobiographical, and I am a fibro girl. So I mention asexuality in the book, and this is my fibro girl costume, my ace fibro girl costume, ace meaning asexual. And so I introduce asexuality in this book to a whole new market of people that might never have heard of asexuality before, because a lot of people who have fibromyalgia have a lot of problems in the genital area, which means they usually have problems having sex. So there obviously is more opportunities for asexuals to be able to have a relationship with someone who's not actually asexual, but who wants to be loved without sex. And that's why I think it's really important that people with fibro do understand about asexuality. It's really important. So in this particular video, I'm talking today about grey asexual areas. Let's discuss what it means to have grey asexual areas, and a grey areas part of grey asexuality, which is a very good question. So if you don't know how I identify fully, my full asexual title that I like to label myself, so some people don't like labels, but I enjoy labeling myself and giving myself the title. I am known as a heteromantic, hyperromantic, grey asexual younger cougar who doesn't like sex, just kissing, right? So I have to tell you that I'm not a textbook grey A. So what does grey asexuality actually mean? What does that mean, right? So asexuality, in case you didn't know, is the lack of sexual attraction. If you're new to this channel, you're new to asexuality, it means that you lack sexual attraction. The full definition, however, on Wikipedia is a lack of sexual attraction or little to no interest in sexual activities. Thus, someone who has a very negligible interest in doing any sexual activities whatsoever, including sex, and they're not bothered about it, they couldn't care less if they never had it again in their life, would fall under the asexual category, despite them feeling maybe some sexual attraction, which would come under the grey end of the asexual spectrum. So it can get a bit confusing. So asexuality is a spectrum of sexuality, ranging from those asexuals that don't experience any sexual attraction or any romantic attraction whatsoever, known as the aromantic asexuals. Excuse me, I just need to hide someone on this channel who's being very rude, and I won't have that on my channel. So basically, for those who are not romantic at all, not sexually attracted to anyone at all. Those are known as the aromantic asexuals, or some people pronounce it aromantic asexuals, through to the people who are romantic, through to those who are grey asexual, before the sexual spectrum starts. So the heterosexuals, the bisexuals, the homosexuals, the pansexuals, right? So asexuality is a huge spectrum, and there's a lot of different types of asexuals, and this is why it can get very, very confusing for people who are in the asexual spectrum, and it can become hard to accept each other as well. There's a lot of things that go on in the asexual community, which is amazing, but there's also can be a lot of confusion there as well. And I can understand it, I can understand why some asexuals who experience no sexual attraction, they have no interest in any sexual activities whatsoever. They don't really like being touched. They're not really interested in a relationship, and they don't like anything sexual whatsoever. No touching, no masturbating, it just doesn't enter their head. And I can understand why those asexuals then feel like someone who comes along who says they're asexual but will participate in some sexual activity, for example, even if it's not intercourse. I can understand why that they wouldn't understand the people that do participate in some sexual activity, because they might think, well, what if you're asexual, you don't experience sexual attraction, why would you want sex or anything to do with any type of sexual stuff whatsoever? I do understand that, and I think it's important to discuss these issues and to not brush them under the carpet, because it can be very damaging for us as a community if we completely ignore the different parts of the asexual spectrum. Of course, you can get people who are not really asexual, and we have to bear that in mind, that there are still people out there that do try to scam, just like there are in any type of sort of dating sites, in any type of orientation. Really, it's not just unique to asexuals, but we do have to bear in mind that, but there are people who are genuinely on the grey asexual end of the spectrum. So what exactly does it mean to be grey asexual? Well, the textbook definition of grey asexuality is that the person feels sexual attraction, but just under limited, rare, or specific circumstances, or they experience it, but not enough to make them want to act on it. In other words, make them want to have the sexual intercourse, right? So that's why it comes in the grey asexual spectrum. So grey asexuality is meant to be between asexual and sexual. It's kind of like you're stuck in between the middle of the two. You're not fully asexual, but you're definitely not fully sexual, right? You're not, so for example, someone who's hetero asexual, they wouldn't be heterosexual, but they wouldn't be fully asexual if someone was a grey asexual hetero person, for example. Hetero meaning they're attracted to the opposite gender or sex, right? So it's really important to understand that. But within the grey asexual part of the asexual spectrum, people are so different in there as well. You can get people who are demisexual within the grey asexual part of the asexual spectrum, right? And the demisexuals are the ones that do experience sexual attraction only when a deep emotional connection has been formed, maintained, sustained in a bond, basically, with someone, right? And usually it has to be reciprocated, and it has to be maintained, sustained for it to carry on, right? And only then can they experience sexual attraction. So usually they would be like the normal asexual person, if you like, in the sense we don't experience sexual attraction. That would be what it would be like for them. They would think of people more like mates, but when they meet a certain person or a few people in their life, they would experience the sexual attraction, then usually want sex. There's some demisexuals that can live without sex, and there's some that can't once they actually feel the sexual attraction. How do I know all this stuff? Because I run different asexual groups, and one of them is for asexuals who don't want any sex whatsoever, and the other group is for asexuals, which are grey asexuals and demisexuals. So I have learned a lot of stuff about demisexuality and grey asexuality, and I asked my group, from what I understood of things that were happening in my group and conversations that were going on there, I said, is it true that usually the person would have to reciprocate the bond back, and if they didn't, then you could lose the sexual attraction? And they said yes. So that was the overall message I got from them. So this is why I'm sharing this with you. And so obviously as an asexual, if you're getting into a relationship possibly with a demisexual, even though we're on both on the asexual spectrum, you have to understand that some demisexuals may need sex later on once they've found that deep emotional bond, whereas other demisexuals don't need it. So it can be very disconcerting, that idea that it, say for example you're a heteromantic but you then fall in love with a demisexual. It can be very disconcerting because you don't know exactly sometimes which way it's going to go, whether they're going to want sex in the end or not. I mean, usually they have an idea of the fact they will or won't need it, based on their life experiences to date, but there are some that do not realize it until they experience it for the first time, and then obviously they've not got any prior experience or knowledge of that, so that can be harder. And it's up to you whether you want to negotiate doing any sexual acts whatsoever, or whether if you're a sex repulsed asexual, that'd probably be right out of the question, in which case you probably wouldn't be able to be lasting in a relationship and both be happy. So that is the danger. And it's important that when we're dating and we're looking to get into a relationship with another asexual, that we are asking all these questions up front, how they fall on the asexual spectrum, what asexuality means to them, what their physical needs are. Because despite being asexual, a lot of asexuals do have physical needs. So like I said, there's a lot of discrepancies, or a lot of differences, should I say, between the different types of asexuals. So you can go from one extreme to the other. One person don't want some people are touch adverse. They don't like to have any touching, at all. They just want to, but some of them still want a relationship. And then others, they like the sensual touching of the body completely naked. They might like doing some sexual acts. So you can see how difficult it is in the asexual dating and relationship scene. And that's why it's so important that when you are first discovering a person who's also asexual, you need to be asking them the questions. It might seem a bit weird, but I mean, obviously, if you're actually looking for a relationship and you specify that in your profile, then you're going to be talking hopefully to people who are also looking for a relationship. It's always good to ask, to clarify, actually, what are you on this site for? Are you looking for friends, or are you looking for a relationship? And then obviously once you've established they're looking for a relationship and you are too, then you can ask them more detailed personal questions about, in terms of physicality, what type of stuff do you like I like doing blah blah blah, for example. Do you know what I mean? And I think the right person will probably stick around, and the people obviously that aren't right for you or them, they will be filtered out, and that's part of the dating and relationship process. It is hard when you've got grey areas. So grey areas is a very difficult one, because there isn't actually anything specifically for grey areas with no sexual attraction involved whatsoever. So when I label myself as a heteromantic grey, a heteromantic hyperromantic grey, a asexual younger cougar who doesn't like sexual kissing, I don't actually fall into a very specific category. I'm heteromantic 100%. But there is no definition that I have discovered that's textbook definition for a person who experiences no sexual attraction but has grey areas. For example, some highly sexual behaviour, or some kind of like eroticism, that type of thing, that you're more sexy, you're more into some sexual touching or some sexual behavior. That I haven't actually found a conclusive term that says this person is definitely this. So in my asexual perspectives book, which I know Richard's kindly got now, and I'm looking forward to reading, then I do redefine grey A to mean grey areas, because at the moment, usually grey asexual, grey sexual, and grey A are all, or even grace as well, as it's known, are all clumped together. They all tend to mean the same thing, right? They all tend to mean the lack of sexual attraction, but under limited or rare or specific circumstances, you still feel it. Or you do feel it under certain circumstances, but not enough to want to act on it. So you've still got that sense of the person does still experience sexual attraction. In my specific case, I don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. So I feel like I don't really fit into an exact asexual box. And I do find that very difficult. I can feel it can be quite a lonely place at times where not many people understand you. And even I find it hard to understand myself sometimes. I find my own behavior or my own senses, sometimes they baffle me. I think, well, if you're asexual, then why are you behaving like that? Or why do you feel that way? Or why do you act that way? And there is no one size fits all, though, for asexuality. And you have to accept yourself for who you are. And I think asexuality is a huge journey of discovery. You know, like I found out so much about myself that I honestly didn't know before I found out I was asexual in 2014. It's been a really life-changing journey. Find out physically what I like and don't like as well. It's been quite surprising. So in my case, you know, with my grey areas, I do have sexual behaviour in the way I like to kiss, but it is with my clothes on. So again, it's under very unusual circumstances that I have these grey sort of areas. And I don't feel comfortable just calling myself a straight heteromantic, even though I am a heteromantic, because I have the sexual behaviour, which is when I kiss, which is too much for a lot of asexual guys. So I feel really stuck. You know, I find it really difficult because I have like this very sensual side of the upper body with a guy with me. I have this really strong aesthetic attraction to foreign guys. I mean, it's super powerful. I would say it's probably as powerful as sexual attraction would be for a sexual person, you know? So although I don't experience the sexual attraction, I have this really high aesthetically magnetic drive for kissing foreign guys that look a certain way. I mean, it's literally magnetic. It's like mesmerizing. Do you know what I mean? And I find it very, very difficult to like how can I put it? I just find it really difficult. You know, it feels like I'm a bit stuck. And it's really weird because I hate women's bodies, right? I can't stand nudity whatsoever. But in the past, when I've, for example, been on Twitter and there's been pretty much naked women flash up on my Twitter feed that I don't want to be there, you know, sometimes my genitalia can be aroused, which is disgusting to me. I'm like, how can your genitalia have arousal stuff when they see images like that? Because I hate that. I think it's sick, but it doesn't make me want to do anything with the woman. It makes me feel aroused and want to touch myself, not the woman. I don't like women. I'm not attracted to women. But, you know, in my head, I'm like, if you're not attracted to women, you're not a lesbian, then why does your body even react that way? And so to me, that is very weird. But I do know guys, for example, guys do react to sexual imagery in their body. Although I'm not a guy, sometimes I have guy traits. So maybe I was a heterosexual in a really past life, although I can't imagine it somehow because I just really can't. But I don't know. Because I find women's bodies disgusting. They literally make me feel sick a lot of the time. And so I don't get that at all. It's something that really kind of like, you know, I can't understand it. I can't understand myself. And I think it's hard when you can't understand parts of yourself. Do you know what I mean? But I think you have to just accept you for where you are and admit it. Do you know what I mean? Like admitting that to people's quite weird, but it's the truth, you know. And if anyone else feels like that, you know, it might, you know, they might be able to relate to it. And also, like, you know, with me, I'm not with that stuff. With me, I'm not with that stuff. What do you mean, Richard? You don't get aroused? Is that what you mean? Like I hate, or you don't like, I mean, I don't like porn. Is that what you mean? I hate porn. I think it's disgusting. So on Twitter, I don't know if you are, oh, I think, yeah, you're on Twitter, aren't you? I think. On Twitter, for example, there's stuff, because obviously I'm asexual. People think it means I'm highly sexual. And I never watch porn. I hate it. I don't go looking at porn. In the Twitter feed, right, there are women all over Twitter that do cam chat, cam sex and stuff like this. And they have a profile with them semi-naked or almost completely naked, right? And they click to follow me because they think asexual means I'm a highly sexual person. I've even had women trying to Skype, one woman years ago trying to go on Skype and cam chat with me. I'm not interested in women. I'm not at all attracted to them. I hate porn. It's disgusting. But even on Twitter, you can get, even on Twitter, there's a documentary I did, which you can see on my channel, which was done by a student. Even on Twitter, you can see the male penis completely in full view, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's not me that's gone and looked at it. It's stuff that's coming up in my feed because they've clicked through to follow me, and then they've got stuff coming through my feed and stuff. I don't follow people back like that unless I follow them by mistake, and usually I don't follow a lot of people back. I'm very careful. I've got quite a few Twitter accounts, and I don't touch them a lot of the time. But the asexual one's the one I'm most active on, asexualized. But so don't get me wrong, I absolutely hate women's bodies. I think they're disgusting. I don't like porn. I've never looked at porn. Hi, Nicoletta. Lovely to see you. I've never looked at porn. I don't like BDSM or kinks or anything like that. That's not what I'm about, right? So I don't like any of that stuff. So if I see something on Twitter, like I was saying, and I there's some women that have hardly got any clothes on, if I get aroused in my genitalia, it's kind of shocking for me, like why that happens involuntary, because I don't like the women's bodies. I think it's disgusting. I like my own. I've trained myself to like my own, but I don't like the women's naked bodies. I'm naked repulsed. I hate it. But it's the same with certain guys. If for example, I'm being really personal now. So if for example, a guy who I'm really, really aesthetically attracted to, and who I really want to kiss and stuff like that, if he's talking about kissing, for example, and other things that might be some sexual stuff, some is disgusting and I hate it, but others might actually set arousal off in me as well, in my genitalia. Do you know what I mean? So just because I'm asexual doesn't mean to say I don't experience arousal. So I do experience high levels of arousal. And again, that is quite strange, but I call all these type of things grey areas, you see. They don't really fit because I'm not sexually attracted to the person. I don't want to have sex. There's never, ever a time when it makes me anything like that makes me want to have sex with a person. It's just very annoying because I have these feelings in my body that, I either have to just go and think of something else and do something else and forget about it, or, relieve the arousal feeling. And at the moment, I'm not really like, I have done masturbation, but which I'm open about on this channel, but I get a bit fed up of doing that. It's not really my thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'd rather not be doing that. I'd rather be doing other stuff. But it's kind of really hard when you get this stuff. I mean, I haven't, seen the Twitter stuff for a while because I'm not on there. But do you know what I mean? And like I said, I personally hate porn. There are some asexuals that like porn though, and these are all the type of grey areas, that you can get. You can get asexuals that do watch porn to masturbate to. Some asexuals that do masturbate. You can get, some asexuals that do have like some sexual acts, and things like that. And this is why it can become very complicated and very difficult, because obviously some asexuals that are sex repulsed would absolutely hate me probably even talking about this stuff right now. They'd be like, pass the sick bucket, please. I'm out the door. Do you know what I mean? Because to them, it's absolutely disgusting. But I think, grey asexuality, and I think grey areas is just very tough. Grey areas, like I said, for me, I don't experience any sexual attraction, so I don't actually fit the textbook grey asexual definition. I'm definitely heteromantic, but I do think I'm quite different to the average heteromantic asexual, because I do have the sexual behaviour the way I like to kiss. Like when I do tongue kissing, for example, not lately, not in the clubs, but if I'm in private with a guy and I was bodies intertwined with clothes on, for example, and it was someone I was really attracted to, then I make heavy breathing noises like I'm having sex, despite the fact I am not having sex and I don't actually want sex. Do you know what I mean? So it becomes very, very awkward for a sexual person to understand me. And it's difficult for me to even understand myself sometimes, And it's like today, I was doing my asexual meetup mastery course, and in between doing that course, when I was waiting for videos to process, I was listening to Foreign Guys in my headphones. There's a movie coming out this month, January 24th, 2020, which is called Street Dancer 3D, and it's got Indian and Pakistani guys dancing in it. Like, I love street dance movies. I love street dance clothes. I love Indian and Pakistani guys. And so whenever I watch these videos and listen to the music, which is really high octane energy music, like, my energy levels are like shooting up. It's good because this morning I wasn't in a very good mood, to be honest. I woke up not in such a happy mood as I usually do, and I was very aware of that. But as the day progressed and I was doing my asexual meter mastery course and I was getting stuff done, and hi Harmony Smurf, lovely to see you, thanks for joining us again, thanks for the thumbs up, everyone. So what was I talking about? Yeah, I was talking about in between doing my asexual meter mastery course, when the videos were processing, I was watching clips of this movie, this street dancer 3D movie that's coming out on January the 24th. And it's got Pakistani and Indian guys in it. And you know, the clothes, I'm really aesthetically attracted to guys who wear street clothes. So of course, when I watch the videos and I listen to the high octane music, that completely changed my mood. I'm in such a high octane energy ecstasy mood at the moment. It's like, woo! And kind of like that's how foreign guys make me feel. And so, you know, like I feel that I'm trying to like analyze myself and my feelings when I'm going along in the day. And it's kind of like I feel very even though I'm asexual, when I watch stuff like that and I, you know, watching the videos and I'm listening to the music and I'm really attracted to the guys in it aesthetically, I do kind of, I think, get maybe aroused, and but most importantly, I get like really like I feel quite a sexy girl. It's very difficult to explain. So despite being asexual, I feel like I have this very, very passionate side of my character that isn't about having sexual intercourse, because as an asexual person who doesn't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever, that doesn't appeal to me. It makes me feel quite blur. I don't need a guy in me. That's not what I'm interested in. You know, I'm not interested from the waist down of anything to do with the guy, you know? But I feel like I've got this really huge, passionate kind of asexual erotica, erotic aside to me. And what that means to me is like, I really kind of want to really grab a foreign guy and just really snog him really passionately in a very, very sexy manner. And so I find that very, very difficult as an asexual person. I find it difficult to you know to how can I put it? I find it difficult to be a sexy asexual in the sense that it's really not quite normal, is it? But then again, what's normal in life? Do you know what I mean? And so I find it very difficult because I've got this really passionate, very energetic, very sensual, very very sexy type of aura about myself. Sometimes, you know, I can feel it. And like I've been doing quite, you know, like when I'm watching the dance movements, I'm doing some dancing in my room and I'm getting better and better and improving my body and stuff like that. And I just thinking about myself in the club and kissing guys and stuff. And so for me, it's kind of really difficult. I do really get bored easily in my life, which I don't really say. Like since I've always been like that for years, I get bored very, very easily with things, which I like to be doing something all the time because I do get bored easily. It's just a trait of me and my personality. I get very, very bored quickly. So I'm loving doing the asexual meter mastery course, but obviously it's very time consuming, you know, uploading all the videos, putting all the wording and everything in. I've made good progress today, so I'm happy. But I do get distracted because I get distracted by guy stuff. So I recorded 2 more videos today. Every time I think, oh, I've nearly done, I record more videos. So I recorded 2 more videos that involved meetup.com for the particular section of the asexual meetup mastery course I'm doing. And there was 2 more bits I wanted to add to it that I hadn't already done. Bear in mind, this one section is now like 11 videos long. It's one section, people. One section. There's like 16 sections in it, and there's a lot of units in it. A lot of like parts within the sections. There's a lot. There's about I think it's over 55 videos now, something like that. And so you know, it's taking a lot of time. And anyway, I was on meetup.com because I was doing that as part of the course, right? And so I'm on there, and then I thought, oh, while I'm on there, I'll see if there's any singles groups for Exeter, my area that I live in. Oh, hello, Viviendo. Hello, nice to see you. So I was on meetup.com, and I thought while I'm on there, I'll see if there's any singles groups. Now they're not going to be asexual groups, unlikely. So the nearest asexual meetup group to meet on there is Bristol. I hold asexual meetups in my city of Exeter. I've got one coming up this weekend on Saturday all day. Well, I say all day, we're starting at 1, but I'm meeting one of my best friends before that, who is coming to see me before that for a couple of hours, so we're having time on our own as well, which will be so cool. So I hold them myself, but I'm not actually organizer on meetup.com. So I'm a participant on there, right? So the actual nearest organized meetup that's on there is Bristol, which my friend actually runs. And so yeah, so I was on there thinking, are there any singles, as in dating groups in my area? Because there's nothing usually in my city of Exeter. I keep looking and there's nothing, because to hold a meetup on meetup.com is nearly $200 a year, which is why I don't actually go on there. I've got all these other methods of being able to get people to my meetups without actually paying that money, which is why the course is so good. And I can get people to come from all over the UK to my meetups. Very skilled thing to do. So yeah, so anyway, I thought, well, is there any singles groups now happening in my area, you know, like where I could maybe meet some people for dating? Not that I really want to date sexuals, because I don't really want to do it, but I have to broaden my horizons, because like I said, if you keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same result. I've been on asexual dating sites for 6 years nearly now, and nothing's much happening there. I got some good asexual friends, don't get me wrong, but nothing's happening with romance, right? And that's what I find really difficult. You know, I've got this kind of really passionate, sensual, kissing side to me that kind of needs to be unleashed. I feel like it's a bit repressed sometimes. I'm not repressed as in I don't want intercourse, you know, there's nothing repressed there. I'm not interested in that whole idea. I don't want to do that ever again in my life. I'm not interested in that. It doesn't thrill me, doesn't excite me. It used to upset me sometimes doing that. I'm not interested in that, because that's not who I am. But I kind of feel like I need to express this really passionate, sensual side of me with a guy sometimes. And that's really hard, because obviously I don't quite fit into the normal asexual box, because a lot of asexual guys, I find, I'm only attracted to guys, by the way, I'm hetero. A lot of asexual guys, they're not really into that much kissing. You know, it's too sexual in behavior, the way I like to kiss. And then people that are on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum, or heterosexuals themselves, they're usually too sexual for me, particularly heterosexuals, because they want sex and I don't. And the people on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum, usually they want nudity, and I don't like nudity, right? So I kind of feel like I'm a bit stuck between a rock and a hard place, if you'll excuse the pun. It wasn't meant to be like that, but that's how it comes out. So I think it's kind of really difficult when you've got these grey areas. And I know there have been a few other asexuals that have commented on some of my videos, particularly one person recently where they're a romantic person, but yet they still want to make out and stuff like that. So, but they don't experience any romance. So, you know, that's kind of seems like a bit of a contradiction. I think this is why it's quite hard if you've got kind of contradictory parts of your own personality. Do you have to come to terms with, you know, I've got to come to terms. Well, I have, but it's kind of like difficult sometimes, because it's like, how much actually passionate kissing, how far do you want to take that, Sandra? How much do you want to do of that? And what circumstances do you want to do that under? Do you know what I mean? Because before I'd only do that usually in a committed relationship. And lately I've decided to go out in the club and allow myself to do that with younger foreign guys if I feel comfortable enough. And I don't know if you believe in the law of attraction. I don't know if you follow it. I know some of you do. I know my friend Nicoletta probably does. And I know some more of you might do on this channel as well. Basically, the law of attraction is when you basically what you think about, you become. What you think about all day long, you manifest, theoretically speaking. And what you think about, you attract, right? Which means the good things and the bad things we attract, right? And so I was saying for a particular period of time that I would like a younger foreign guy in my city to just meet up basically and go on dates with and kiss. I really need to kiss. So even if I just have a guy to kiss, that's all I really need, because, you know, I'm quite happy being single, right? And then obviously the Bangladeshi guy turned up. So I really attracted him due to the law of attraction, because I kind of got what I asked for, but not exactly, because I didn't, you know, because I needed an honest guy, and really I'd prefer to be in a relationship. But, you know, I kind of got what I asked for. And theoretically speaking, I could still go on dates with him and could still snog him. But, I don't really trust the guy because he's a liar. So, but it's kind of hard when you have these kissing needs. I think it's very difficult, like I have no sexual intercourse needs, but I do have kissing needs. And I know some people who are asexual who have no kissing needs whatsoever will think, what the heck's she talking about? It's ridiculous. I'm not listening to this. It's rubbish, because obviously they don't feel that way. And I understand how difficult it must be for asexuals who are not having these great areas to understand why I'm talking about stuff like this. So I do appreciate that we're all different, and the thing is, I can't change who I am. I can't. You have to accept yourself for who you are, and you have to come to terms and face the real truth of who you are as a person in all your glorious asexuality, if you know what I mean. So I think it's really important that you get to know yourself as well as possible, and that you give yourself some slack and allow yourself to actually just be true to who you are, despite the fact that some people maybe in the asexual community wouldn't understand you. I find it hard to understand myself sometimes. I really do. I mean, my genitalia arousal stuff sometimes feels like it's got a mind of its own. I've known that for quite a while, though. It's like my bits down below don't necessarily equate with my head. And I think that's true for some asexuals, not just me. I think that's how come arousal's not the same as sexual attraction, because when I look at a person, I don't ever want sex with them. Sexual attraction is all based on looking at a person or looking at some person and thinking, I want sexual intercourse specifically with you, right? A lot of asexuals, which is true for quite a number of us, if we are feeling any arousal feelings, we usually like to relieve it ourselves and not have anyone else involved in that, because being asexual, it tends to be more of a solo sexuality, in the sense that we'd rather do stuff with ourselves than other people. Our arousal's not aimed at anyone. Do you see what I'm saying? Just like we don't have sexual attraction. There are some people, again, under the grey asexual spectrum, who do experience some sexual attraction under limited, rare, or specific circumstances. So, for example, there is part of the asexual spectrum, grey asexual spectrum, called phrasexual and phroeromantic. Someone who's phrasexual, they do experience sexual attraction, but after X amount of months of being in a relationship, the sexual attraction wears off and they become basically asexual. So it's kind of really, it's on the asexual spectrum already, but then they just lose all sexual attraction and don't experience anymore when in the relationship. And someone who's phroeromantic, that happens with the romance. They are really romantically attracted to someone at first, and part way through, like it might just be a few months into relationship, they lose all romantic attraction. Do you love yourself? Being confident about yourself is number one. Absolutely, I love myself. Thank you very much. Yeah, I really 100% love myself. So yes, so that's why I am quite confident when I'm in nightclubs, for example, because I do love myself and I'm very confident in the way I like to dance. So I do sexy dancing, and I absolutely love doing sexy dancing because it's who I am as a person, even though I'm asexual. So that's what I mean. Like the stereotypes of asexuals can be quite damaging when there's like a lot of people have the idea that all asexuals don't experience any romance for a start, which when we know that's not true, because there's a lot of asexuals that are romantic asexuals, despite the fact the majority still aren't. There's more aromantic asexuals, so those that lack romantic attraction, the ones that actually experience romance. So there's a high degree of those. There's a stereotype where we all, if we want a relationship, it's a platonic relationship. Well, to me, a platonic relationship is more like a best friend type of relationship, right? Not one where you're being intimate. So for me, that doesn't compute, because I don't experience platonic attraction, and I either have friends that I'm not intimate with, or I have a partner that I would be intimate with, right? Or obviously, if I'm dating, or on the dating scene in clubs at the moment, I'm allowing guys to kiss me, but at certain places they can't touch. So I think it can be quite difficult as well, like I said, with all the different type of grey areas, because someone will come along and look at me, and there might be different people who might judge me, outside people, and there'll be some that will say, oh well, you know, you're this, that, and the other, yet you're meant to be asexual, right? There'll be the other people that'll be like, oh my God, you don't like nudity. That's very weird. You're very asexual. Do you know what I mean? So it's all, sexuality is kind of like perceived in different ways by people, you know, and only you can really truly know who you are and that. And sometimes you can just come to understand different sides of you that you never knew before. Like I never knew that I got aroused. I didn't know that. I tried relationships, but since my divorce I figured out that I'm happiest by myself. Thank you for sharing, Harmony Smurf. I love your username, by the way. It's a really, I like the Smurfs. Very asexual in that way. I love the Smurfs. Yeah, they're so cool. Yeah, I mean, especially after divorce, I would say it's really important to take time out for you, you know. And if you feel happiest by yourself, then it's better to stay by yourself. Like for me, it's very difficult because it's kind of like I feel I'm better by myself. I feel I'm happier by myself overall, but I have this deep, passionate side to me. And it's kind of like, do I just let myself kiss guys I don't really, you know, that I'm all strangers to me? Do I carry on doing that? Or do I say, no, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to do less of it and just like, you know what I mean? But I've decided to do that because I have kissing needs. And I think that's what people don't realize. They think asexuals don't have any physical needs, but some of us do. I probably need kissing as much as someone needs sex. I don't need the sex, but I find it very difficult. And I think me watching videos on YouTube from the Street Dancer movie with the Pakistani and Indian guys just doesn't help me. It elevates my mood for wanting to kiss foreign guys. I mean, it just shoots it up to the point where it makes me feel like I just want to go clubbing and kiss a foreign guy. That's how much it shoots up. So kind of like you know, what we watch, what we think about, what we listen to, it all creates an impact on our minds and on our bodies, you know. And in terms of me with foreign guys like that, I just kind of makes me feel aroused, and not, but I don't want sex with these guys. It don't think about stuff like that. I don't like that, but it makes me feel like I really really want to kiss the guys. So I'm not interested in looking from the waist down. I like them with better with their clothes on, but it just really makes me want to have passionate kissing, like very passionate. So like passion without the sex, do you know what I mean? And I find that very interesting about myself. I find it very difficult as well because it's kind of like I don't know which way to go with it. I don't know whether to temper it down and don't look at these videos, just, you know, like tone it off, like become more sober about the whole thing really. Otherwise it can be kind of like a bit addictive, and just calm down and just detox from guys for a bit, or whether to do the opposite and like go out more, be more energetic, kiss more guys. It's like, oh my God, it's 50-50-50. Do you know what I mean? But I do get very distracted by foreign guys, I have to say, like if I'm watching videos. But it's kind of like, it makes me really happy as well. Like today, like I said, my mood wasn't very good this morning when I woke up. I was quite aware that my mood was quite anxious. I was quite worried about a lot of things that are going on personally for me at the moment. And it all kind of like bubbled up. And then I was like, oh my goodness me. And then I had a customer, so that was good. And so that put me in quite a good mood. And then and then I got on with some work, and I was feeling good when I was getting on with my asexual meetup mastery. What did you say? Masturbate more? I've really gone off masturbation, I have to tell you. I just really gone off masturbation. I don't really like it anymore. So I know that's the kind of answer to relieve arousal feelings, and it does work sometimes to stop me thinking so much about guys. But, and you know, like about kissing them, it does kind of work. But I actually prefer to kiss. I get far more pleasure out of kissing a guy than I do masturbation. I never even tried masturbation until I found out I was asexual. The whole thing used to disturb me and make me feel sick. And even now I don't really like it. I get like times when I start feeling sick again, and lately I haven't done much. Lately I haven't done much of that because I'm getting fed up with it, to be honest, which is very weird. But it's not, because I didn't used to like it in the first place years ago, but it doesn't really do anything for me. It's not, it hurts sometimes, and yeah, you know, I find it really hard to get on with that anymore. It's really weird. I've kind of gone backwards to how I used to be about thinking about it in the first place. Like when I was in a partnership, I used to prefer my guy touching me, to be honest, when I was in a serious committed relationship, than me doing that for myself. I didn't used to do that for myself anyway back then. But, you know, I think it's part of self-love. And I think, you know, if you have got arousal feelings, I think it's fine for asexuals to do that, or anyone, you know. I don't think it's anything bad in it. I think it can be very good to self-love. I think it can stop you getting with the wrong person. I think it can be a way of preventing getting with abusive, well, in my case, guys, because, you know, if you're relieving your arousal feeling yourself, you're not involving or relying on guys to do that for you in a non-intercourse way, because obviously I don't have intercourse and I don't like nudity, then I think it's actually better for you in that way. Theoretically, I think it's better for me, but I'm just so fed up with that. I don't really like doing it much anymore. It doesn't really do much for me anymore. I kind of like I don't really get excited doing that anymore. I don't really like the process. I don't really enjoy it. So I find that it just means that I just have problems down there, or I can't do it. I start and then it's like, oh, this is just not good. It doesn't feel good. And so I have to stop doing that. So I don't do that as much anymore, which are maybe why I've got all more arousal feelings within myself. But, you know, I didn't used to think about stuff like this, but I think, you know, like, because I'm a really passionate person with the kissing, I think it's, you know, for me, and I've been focusing on this quite a lot lately, and what we focus on expands, obviously, then, you know, it can either be a problem, or I could just, like, you know, park it. Do you know what I mean? But it's kind of like, you know, the Bangladeshi guy that's really, really bad for me. It's kind of like, you know, like I know that I could kiss him in the way I'd like to kiss, and I could relieve my kissing want, do you know what I mean? But he's a liar, and I don't want to do that, because why would I kiss a liar? Because it's not good for me. So it's kind of like really difficult, I think, you know. And I you know, I'm not heterosexual, but I do understand sexuals from the point of view of, like, I get really like needing to kiss, so I understand when some sexuals need to have sex, even though I think it's upsetting for asexuals not to be able to be loved without sex from some sexuals. I think I wish more sexuals would love us without sex, because sex definitely isn't love. Because I have the huge kissing need in me, and I don't want to be in a relationship that doesn't involve kissing, or where the guy's not enjoying kissing, I can understand sexuals on that level. Do you see what I mean? I think it's important that we do understand sexuals if we want to as well, that, you know, like, not every sexual person's bad. And, you know, I think it's good that if we can have some understanding of each other. But, you know, if I hadn't got that kissing need so much, then I wouldn't understand sexual so much, I suppose. So I suppose, you know, again, I'm very I've got good all-round experience and different parts of me that help to bridge the gap between sexuals and asexuals. I guess that's what I was born to do, with my books and on this channel and stuff. Kissing is your thing. Yeah, kissing is really, really my thing, Dan. I mean, it's just so my thing. Like, it doesn't do, sex does nothing for me. Kissing's like a volcanic explosion, and that just puts me on a high 24/7. But even thinking about it does that. Like I said, my mood this morning went good, and like now I've been watching Indian Pakistani guys like do dancing nearly all day, and I've been listening to my headphones. I'm a bit like up in the roof nearly. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I've like taken some sort of, like, I don't do drugs ever, but you know, like, I guess it's a cortisone, high adrenaline, all that lot that's probably in me, like the hormonal things that are going off at the moment in terms of the thinking about kissing and the foreign guys, you know. And so it can kind of put me on a high. I guess the only way to stop that is by not watching those type of videos and by calming down. But then I'm thinking, well, do you want to do that, or do you want to express your passionate side more, Sandra? Maybe that's something for 2020 that you want to look into more? But then that's a bit scary, because it's, you know, like, I don't want to get too sexual with a guy. Do you know what I mean? Because he will, you know, I don't want a guy where he'll go too much beyond what I'm comfortable with, because I'm not, you know, like, I'm not into ambient intercourse. I don't want him touching parts of my body, because I don't want that outside of a relationship. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's good. So my bum, I might be okay about certain bits of the outside of my bum being touched, but anything else, like, you know, my genitals or my breasts, I don't want a guy who I've just met in a club to be touching that type of stuff. It's off limits. I always like getting their hands out the way of those areas. Like, don't touch me. I'm not having it, because it doesn't, you know, they have no right to go there. It's my boundaries, you know. So I won't allow them to do that type of thing. You know, so but yeah, kissing is really my thing. I find it's much better than sex would ever be, even in the past. I don't understand what the big deal about sex is. That's obviously because I am asexual and don't experience sexual attraction. I don't see what the big deal about sex is. I don't think sticking that bit in the woman's bit is really anything good. I don't get stimulated by that. I don't like that. I think passion without a sex is much more passionate. I think all the kissing and the different types of kissing, because I watch a lot of dating and coaching relationship videos, right? And there was this guy who did this video about how to kiss a guy like a goddess, right? And I already use quite a lot of that stuff. It's like I know this stuff, so I probably am going to write a book about kissing, by the way. I've already decided that. Because I am good at kissing. I do like kissing. And I think, wow, there might be a lot of other people that I can help out there that also don't understand the art of kissing. So I think it's really, really important. So I thought that's another book I'm really looking forward to writing, actually. Because, you know, why not put these talents to good use and skills to good use? That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, so I came across this dating video and it said how to kiss a guy like a goddess. And I was thinking, like, I do a lot of that stuff already. There's certain things I don't like, though. I won't do biting. I do not like teeth and biting involved in kissing. To me, that's not kissing. To me, that is just pain. I'm not into pain. I'm not, like I said, I'm not into BDSM stuff whatsoever at all, for me personally. Some asexuals are without the intercourse, you know. And again, that kind of, to me, is grey areas, even though they might not experience the sexual attraction. If they're doing stuff like BDSM and kinks and stuff like that, to me, that is, again, from my point of view, grey areas, you know. But I guess that's when it gets complicated, because someone's grey area like mine of kissing but with clothes on and no intercourse whatsoever and not touching below the waist is kind of like much more asexual than someone really who's participating in BDSM and doing all the sexual acts apart from the intercourse. Do you see what I mean? So again, even those type of different grey areas are very, very vastly different. You know, like I said, there's some things that I feel really uncomfortable with, and if this guy was doing certain things or wanted to do, I would just want to run a mile. I would just want to cuddle my cuddly toys, to be quite frank with you. That's how come I know more, you know, that's how come I'm reminded once again of how asexual I actually am. You know, when I want to do stuff like that, when I'm like, no, this is too much for me. I want to go and cuddle my cuddly toys now, just lie on my bed and have time to chill out. It's too much. So there, you know, there's I think, you know, because I do a lot of analysing, it's kind of like I analyse the asexual behaviour parts of me. Even though I'm totally asexual, I analyse the asexual parts of my behaviour and I analyse the sexual parts of my behaviour. But I think there's quite a lot of more sexual behaviour stuff in terms of kissing that I could be doing that I don't do currently. And it's kind of like, I don't know how much of that I want to do. Holding each other is sometimes better than sex. Yeah. I mean, I'm more into kissing than cuddling, which again is very, very weird, Dan, for most asexuals. They're into cuddling. I'm into snogging, like full on snogging. And for me, like, I like bodies intertwined with clothes on. So again, that's really, really close physical body contact, but with clothes as the barrier between you. And I personally think a guy looks much better with his clothes on. Personally, I just like I said, if a guy wears street dance type clothing, I just really want to snog him like senselessly, because I'm just so attracted to that look. More attracted than if he took it. Well, I don't want him to take his clothes off trouser wise. Chest I'm okay with, but do you know what I mean? With the clothes on, I want to kiss him far more. So I think you know, it's true though, holding each other is better than sex. I mean, I'm not into sex at all anyway. I have had it in the past, but I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't need it. It's not that great. I'd rather, you know, not have it again in my life. I'm not up for that. So, and I personally don't get any satisfaction out of that. It's all to do with the kissing. A guy could have nothing below the waist and I wouldn't care. Well, I care for him. He can go toilet, but I mean, theoretically, I couldn't care less about that, because I'm not interested in that part of his body. I'm interested in the upper part of the body, particularly the face and the shoulders. So, you know, I just can happily kiss all day. Well, I suppose I might get a bit bored, or I might get a bit like, I've got to eat something now. I remember in the past, though, I have like, oh, I've got to go and get something to eat quickly. Oh, I've got to stop for food. But yeah, so it's really interesting, isn't it? That we're all different. And I just think, you know, like it's very hard though when you are not a textbook grey asexual, because I don't experience any sexual attraction, but I have this sexual behaviour and this really sensual side to me, you know. I have got a new brand coming out this year as well called erogenicity, which some asexuals will probably be quite shocked about, but others won't because they know what I'm like. Which is all about erogenous zones and how to be more passionate in a relationship with erogenous zones, with or without sex. In my case, without sex, but obviously quite a lot of sexuals are going to like that. I'm going to have a course coming out on that, how to be more passionate in a relationship with or without sex. But in my case, without sex, you know, some that will lead on to sex for some people. So I'm going to be doing a training course on that, which is going to be very, very interesting. But I don't know if the more passionate, sensual side is going to come out when I'm doing that course, because it's kind of like I instinctively know quite a lot of that stuff, but I know a lot of it from my past being in sexual relationships for half of my life. Because I think that's what lacks in a lot of sexual relationships is passion, because they focus too much on the intercourse instead, like you said, of holding each other, tenderly touching each other, the sensual side more. Do you know what I mean? That is really something that's lacking in a lot of relationships. And, you know, I like passion. I love passion. But a lot of the time, you know, when you're in a long-term committed relationship, the passion does die down. But I think that's because they're too focused on the intercourse. They're like, we're really tired. We've got these jobs. We're doing all this stuff, you know. Maybe they're moving house together. Maybe they're redecorating. Maybe they got different shifts. And, you know, they're just thinking in their minds that I can't have sex because I'm not in the mood, right? Which is fair enough. But just imagine if you took away all that pressure of the sexual intercourse and you just sat there, you know, like kissing each other's necks and things like that, little tiny kisses, and just, you know, stroking the hair and kissing down the nose and, you know, all these type of things, you know. I just think that a lot of people could have much more satisfaction in their relationships if they would develop more of their sensual, passionate minus the sex side of it. I really that's kind of where I'm coming from, and that's what I'm good at talking about, because I'm quite experienced and knowledgeable, and that's kind of my forte of where I lie, like passion without the sex, I guess. And especially for a female, can you have an orgasm during intercourse? No. I don't even understand what an orgasm is. I really don't. From what my friends described, one of my friends, I'd say no, I don't understand it. I don't have that. No. I can do the coming and squirting. Sorry for anyone who's listening to this who's absolutely sex repulsed and wants to throw up in a bucket right now. But I can do all that, which a lot of women can't do squirting. I can do that, but and that's not during intercourse usually. That's during masturbation, not intercourse. With intercourse, it's just coming, wet stuff, but not orgasm. No, can't do that. A lot of the time I had to stop anyway. And with my ex, long-term ex, I didn't do it for sometimes have sex for 2 months. Do you know what I mean? But I can come, but it's not orgasmic. I wouldn't say it's an orgasm. I still don't understand what it is. I presume I don't understand what it is because I haven't experienced it. I think I'd know if I experienced it. Do you know what I mean? But I've had one of my friends try to describe it to me, what it's like. And I've had someone else on this channel put a comment about what it is, because I did a video about what the F is an orgasm, because I still didn't get it. And someone was putting a comment down. They linked to an article, and they did say that squirting, coming, and orgasming are 3 completely separate things. And so yeah, I can do the first 2, but I can't do the orgasm thing. I don't understand really what it is. I don't like my body to be out of control. So if it ever starts doing any out of control stuff, I will just stop doing stuff because it'll make me feel sick. I can't be doing with that type of thing. I'm not here to do that in life. I don't like my body feeling out of control in that way, you know. So no is the answer to that. And I haven't had intercourse since 2011, and I much prefer having a sexual life. I don't want intercourse again, you know. I'm glad that I found out I was asexual in 2014, and that's, you know, I found it out because I couldn't date sexuals anymore, which is why it's quite anxiety inducing for me being around sexual guys again, because I really don't want to be with a sexual guy. I'd rather be with an asexual guy who loves kissing as much as I do. Then I know there's no worry about the intercourse. I don't have to worry about that. My ideal guy would be an asexual heteromantic guy who literally just liked to kiss as much as I did and talk long, you know, not just kiss, but have in-depth conversations, because I experience attraction through intelligence as well. So it's not just the kissing. In the relationship, I'd need some mental stimulation as well. Do you know what I mean? If a guy wasn't very intelligent and didn't expand his views and mind, I would be a bit like, I would feel like he was more of a kid, if you know what I mean, and doesn't matter what age he is. And I would feel like I couldn't really get close to him because I can't connect with him intelligently. And I have to have like deep emotional and spiritual connection too. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of actually being in a relationship with a guy, I kind of need a lot of attractions to be satisfied, not just the kissing thing. Do you know what I mean? So I think maybe, if I had the opportunity and I was in a relationship, maybe if I was if I was able to kiss as much as I wanted to, then maybe my desire probably for kissing would be a bit less because I'd be getting that satisfied. Do you know what I mean? And I would obviously want to talk to them a lot as well. It'd be very, very important. Talking would be very, very important to me and the other person, and the intelligent conversations and creativity and all that type of thing. Which again is passion, when someone's passionate about their subjects and they're passionate about their life, they are a passionate person. It's still another form of passion without sex, which is what I'm all about, really, like living your life passions, being passionate, enthusiastic about life, about what's going on in your life, about your dreams, your hopes, your goals, about, just your life in general. I'm a very passionate person like that. And during kissing, I can come during kissing, but I don't orgasm. I can come just through kissing, which is why I love kissing so much, to be honest, because you can come naturally without even a guy touching me. It's very interesting, but I don't do that when I'm on the dance floor. Like I haven't even been aroused with the guys on the dance floor, which is really weird because I usually get aroused with kissing, but it's probably because I'm not letting them touch any of my real strong arousal zones. So yeah, yeah. So, and guys can do that as well, which not a lot of people know, getting really personal. Some guys can come through kissing alone and they no intercourse whatsoever. And people don't know that, but it's quite interesting. The reason why it's good to have this discussion as well is because there are some asexuals that are with sexuals, right, in relationships. And therefore, it's important to talk about all these great areas and stuff because it can be very confusing if you're in a relationship with a sexual person. So it's good if you can understand yourself as much as possible before you get into a relationship, if you're going to get into a relationship with a sexual person, because obviously like my behavior on the dance floor, for example, that's highly sexy in behavior does not equate to the bedroom. Do you know what I mean? There's actually someone in my Asexual Perspectives book that does mention this, that they're the same as me on this. They have very sexy dancing, but actually when it comes to being in the bedroom, sex, they're not interested in sex whatsoever. They just like to do the sexy dancing because it's a way they express themselves, and it's the way I express myself. When I dance, I just move with the music, which a lot of the time is like moving your hips around and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But there are lots of ways that you can experience pleasure without actually no intercourse whatsoever, and you don't even have to really touch the person as such, like in terms of hands. So like when you've got bodies intertwined with each other, for example, that can be very stimulating without even physically touching each other, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. But again, like I said, there are certain things that are just too sexual for me, and I want to run a mile and it'd be like, no, thanks very much. Just want to go and cuddle my cuddly toys now, thanks. It's just too much for me. So and sometimes, I know this conversation is going to be very difficult for some asexuals to hear because they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to feel sick. Do you know what I mean? Because for some sex repulsed asexuals, they'll absolutely hate me talking about this subject, which is fair enough. I do understand them because I'm personally sex repulsed for me these days, but not for other people, so I can talk about it. But I've had some people that talk about too much with me and then it makes me feel sick, so I do understand them. So yeah, it's asexuality is like I said, a huge spectrum, and I just feel that when you're in the grey area zone, it can be very difficult. It can be very difficult to like tell the truth. I mean, I'm very truthful, I'm very honest, on this channel. Like, I'm just completely open, but I think it's very hard thing for you to be able to do is to be truthful to who you are, as an asexual, and speak your truth, whether that means you completely find masturbation, porn and everything else disgusting, which I completely understand, or whether you are into some of that stuff despite being asexual. I think it's better to speak your truth and live as your true authentic self in life, despite what anyone may think, or even if you think you're kind of crazy. I think some of the stuff is a bit crazy for me, you know. I'm like, why do you get aroused, Sandra, yet you experience no sexual attraction? That makes absolutely zero sense to me. Doesn't make sense. Being stronger, yeah, it's important to be your true authentic self. It does make you stronger. I'm a really strong person because I'm my true authentic self, you know, and I don't tell people what they want to hear. You know, when they come on this channel, they don't get what they want to hear, you know, and I speak to the whole asexual spectrum. So whereas some channels just specifically talk to the asexuals that are completely sex repulsed and they don't talk about any sexual stuff whatsoever, and they don't divulge stuff about themselves. I actually I actually talk quite a lot about different things. So sometimes I'll do a video about the fact of how much I hate sex. I can't stand it. I'm so glad I haven't had it for X amount of years, which is good. It's true. I haven't had sex since 2011. So in 2020, which we are now, it's 9 years, you know, and I'm really proud of that because I hate sex. I don't miss sex whatsoever. I'm so glad I don't have to ever have that again in my life because it was not nice. Do you know what I mean? And so, you know, I can kind of do videos that suit everyone's taste, really, but not everyone's at the same time, if you know what I mean. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. Because obviously some sex repulsed asexuals will absolutely hate me talking about the more sexual end of the spectrum. And then the sexual end of the spectrum will kind of like be like, well, you know, feeling left out, like, well, what about me? Because I have these, you know, nuances to my asexuality and no one understands me. So, oh, thank you, Dan, for understanding. I'm guessing that you're not asexual from your questions, but thank you for being respectful. I appreciate that. So yeah, so it's like it's very interesting, and it's you know, I think like sometimes I think you just have to explore yourself. So explore, not, I don't mean as in I'm going to touch myself, explore yourself as in explore your passionate side sometimes, or your sensual side, or explore parts of your asexuality and see where it leads you, you know. Maybe you'll go a certain way and then you'll realize actually I'm not that as much as I thought I was, or maybe, you know, you'll be end up being more of the stuff that you thought you were and not into so much other stuff. So I think it's important. Dan, I'm single. Last time I had sex is 2 years ago. Oh, right. Okay. But you're heterosexual, right? Are you, Dan? You heterosexual, or I presume you're into girls, are you? Or you bisexual? Or are you, I don't think you're asexual, are you? From your questions, I would say that you're heterosexual. Am I right about that? Yes, you're heterosexual. Thought so. But you haven't had sex in 2 years. That's very good for a heterosexual guy to have not had sex that long. Actually, one of the guys I was talking to not so long ago, he hadn't had sex for 3 years and he was heterosexual. So, you know, some guys who are sexual can live without sex, but like, you know, it might be different if you're in a relationship because, you know, like obviously, but even as a single person, I have to kiss myself. I have to say this. I do kiss myself. Like I get so kissing frustrated that I do not grab my arm. I do hold my arm and start kissing myself sometimes just to get rid of the kissing frustration. So I think I really like, I do have a lot of kissing needs, put it that way. Yeah. So even though like I'm, you know, I'm not really into masturbation, sometimes I just have to really kiss myself. But there's only so much you can kiss yourself, you know. Kissing yourself on your arm is not the same as passionately kissing a guy, which is why I prefer to kiss a guy. I don't prefer it from the point of view it's safer for me to kiss myself, right? And it's better because I'm just with me. But you know, there's only so much you can do with yourself. There's a lot more I can do with the guy that I know how to do, you know. And I'm not a shy girl, you know. I like going on top of a guy and kissing him, you know. And I'm quite a strong, powerful girl in that respect. And I kind of feel there's, you know, like for example, with the guy in the club, when I was kissing him, when I wanted to kiss him, the way I like to kiss, right, I was kissing his neck, which he really enjoyed, a little soft kisses, which is very different from a girl. Not a lot of girls do this type of things. That's why a guy notices them more when you do this type of thing. But you know, I really like doing that. But when he started expecting it and started telling me to do it there again, I didn't like it. I don't like that when a guy expects you to do things like that. I kind of just like it when I naturally want to do it for them. Do you know what I mean? When they're telling me to do it, I get bored then. Like, when you're just telling me to do something, it's not very sensual then. It's not very in the moment. It's not very passionate, because you're just trying to tell me what to do. I don't really like being told what to do by a guy. So yeah, that kind of like loses my interest then. I'm like, oh right, okay, I'm not so into that anymore. But you know, it's kind of like, I feel like if I'm more taking the lead in the kissing department, I'm happier really. I think you know, but I don't like to take the lead all the time, otherwise it gets a bit boring again. So, but go with the flow. But you know, but that's another thing. If a guy is not kissing me in the way I like to be kissed, I have to take over his mouth and kiss him the way, show him the way I like to be kissed, and then he can have his mouth back. It's very difficult to describe, but basically, if a guy's kissing me the way I don't want to, either I can't kiss him anymore because it's disgusting, or I have to show him, without him realizing, subtly show him how I like to be kissed. Well, the last guy did realize it, because he goes, "Oh, you like to be the leader in kissing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do actually." So but that's because he wasn't kissing me 100% how I like to be kissed. He had this thing going on with his teeth. I'm like, "Why is your teeth in the way?" Do you know what I mean? So he wasn't the best kisser, because I'm like thinking, why is your teeth? There shouldn't be teeth very often involved in kissing. Maybe occasionally you clash teeth or it gets in the way, but usually no. It's like a cheese grater. I'm like, I'm not kissing a cheese grater. I want to kiss your sweet lips and your tongue, soft tongue. I don't want to be having your teeth in the way like a cheese grater. So that was quite funny in a weird sort of like, oh, I don't want a cheese grater kiss. Do you know what I mean? You can tell I'm very into kissing. I've got to write a book on kissing. I have to put it on Amazon, a book specifically about me talking about kissing. I'm sure loads of guys will buy it, because whenever I write a message to a guy about how I like to kiss, for some reason it really turns him on. And I'm just being me. I'm not even saying anything disgusting. Oh, Richard, I know how you feel. Oh, thank you, Richard. It's nice that you're still here as well. So you know, I'm like, you know, I'm going to write a book about kissing, because I just think Amazon needs to have this book. People need to see it. But I don't know why, but whenever I talk about kissing in a message, I'm not even talking much. I'm just talking a bit about kissing, right? Not the full. I've spoke more about on kissing on this show tonight. I think I've spoke about it on I speak about it a lot anyway, but I spoke about it a lot more in depth tonight. But for some reason, it really turns guys on when I talk about sexual guys. I'm talking about, well, even asexual guys, actually. Asexual guys. I've had a number of asexual guys start saying they're turned on by the fact I'm talking, messaging them with the way I like to kiss. But I'm not even going that in depth. I'm thinking there's a lot more stuff I'm going to be going in depth with, but I'm not. I'm just talking about the fact I like to do deep penetrative tongue kissing, and for some reason that really turns them on. And they're like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, so it doesn't take much for me to be able to turn a guy on. I don't even do anything. Like, some guys get turned on by seeing my picture, which is a face smiling. Like, on Facebook, I'm like, how can you fancy me? Well, how can you get turned on by me and attracted to me? But obviously I must have an attractive face, so that's quite nice, but I don't really get it. I don't do anything, you know, like sometimes I just don't do anything and guys get attracted to me. But I'm like, okay, I'm just being me. Whereas other women, they have to really, really try hard to get a guy to be sexually attracted to them. With me, it's like a guy's naturally sexually attracted to me. It is you are. It is you are. Oh, bless you, Dan. But yeah, for some reason, I attract the very, very highly, 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 highly sexual guys. And I do it naturally. Whereas I know some people I've had in the past as friends, they don't thong. I don't wear thongs. No, I'm not a thong woman. I don't believe in lacy underwear or any of that rubbish. I wear white pants. Just for your information most of the time. No, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in frilly, lacy underwear, because I'm not interested in sex. I'm not interested in nudity. I don't want to take my clothes off. I'm not interested in a guy looking at my underwear. He doesn't need to see that. When I come on the live streams, I either wear my clothes or I wear my pajamas. So if a guy was with me in a relationship, I would be getting changed in the shower room, for example, so he's not seeing my naked body. So I'm not interested. I don't like female naked bodies. They're disgusting to me. But I like my own only. But you know, I never wore thongs. They look the most uncomfortable things ever. I don't need to steep my bum cheeks out. My bum's quite big enough for people to see as it is. Sorry, I had to say that. It's so funny. But no, I don't believe in all this lacy underwear stuff. I don't like that at all. I like you know, like if I was with a partner in a relationship, I'd be like, you know, from one ace to another, you are cute. Oh, thank you, Richard. Bless you. That's really sweet. Thank you. That's nicer. You see, when an asexual guy says something like that, then it's nicer to me because it means more. Do you know what I mean? It's very sweet. Thank you. I'm going to blush now. I think I'm going to go into my little girly mode like I'm 15 years old, which I am anyway, obviously. But yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. I don't know what to say now, see? Because an asexual guy said it, I got all shy. If it's a sexual guy saying it, I'm like a tiger. If an asexual guy's saying it, I mean, it is your tongue. Oh, my tongue, not thong. Oh, my tongue. Yeah, but how do they get sexually attracted in a text about my tongue? Because I'm not showing them. I don't send them a video. Is it? I guess it's because I say deep penetrative tongue kissing, and it's when the word penetrative probably causes arousal, because even in my own body, when I use the word penetrative, because I told you I get arousal from sexual words or sexual things, even though I'm not sexual in that way. I'm asexual, you know. I guess it's the word penetrative. I'm guessing deep penetrative kissing with the tongue. I'm guessing the way I say it. I'm from Holland. Oh my God, Holland's one of the most sexual places ever, isn't it? Oh my God, it's a red light district, isn't it? A sexual place. I had an asexual friend. Well, I've still got him as a friend. And he was telling me that his woman friend who's not asexual invited him to go to Holland, I think it was, with him. Not Holland, sorry, it's Amsterdam. Sorry, Amsterdam, but Holland's renowned as well, isn't it, for sex? Well, I know because one of my exes, his family came from Holland. And apparently there was interbreeding there. Oh, so I got told. But that ex was really bad. He used to go in the shower room toilet with his mum naked. There was something very wrong going on between him and his mother. Put it that way. I was like, I'm from Rotterdam. Uh-huh. So, are you younger? Are you in your 20s or 30s? I'm just interested. Oh dear, all these foreign guys, I don't know. But you're not Indian, are you, sadly? 38. Oh wow. Okay. Not as young as I like. Oh, I better calm down. Sorry. But you're not Indian, sadly, or Pakistani, are you? Or Bangladeshi or Middle Eastern. They are my top attractions, people. Yeah, and you're not asexual either. But there might be a heterosexual guy one day that just loves kissing and actually gets fed up with sex and just wants a kissing like me. You never know. I did actually have. I'm white and tall. You're not type, I guess. Well, my ex was tall and white, but I prefer guys with coloured skin, to be honest. Yeah, my last long-term ex of 8.5 years was 6'3", and I'm 5'4.5". It's quite interesting. Didn't bother me at all. Apart from when I used to go to his place, because we lived separately most of the time. When I used to stay at his place was really, really, everything was put for a taller person, and I'm short, so he used to nearly hit his head on the ceiling in the house where I live, and I used to find it hard to get anything. Like, I used to have to ask him to get stuff down for me from cupboards because I couldn't reach. So that was the only difficulty I had with the height difference. But in terms of kissing, it never mattered one jot, as I was kissing and stuff. So yeah. So I like short, dark hair, clean shaven guys, preferably foreign, thin guys, preferably Indians, my top attraction. I think I have an Indian asexual soulmate somewhere, but I've yet to meet him. And I keep trying to search for him. Like when I was on meetup.com today, I did actually join some singles groups in my city, but they're pretty much all to be paid for. And it's like, why do I have to pay to go and meet people? And then there was Bristol. I joined some there as well. I did message a few foreign guys, but I have to be careful because it's not a dating site. So I had to be careful what I say because they can ban you or they can block you. So I just put some general questions like, I've just joined this group. How are you finding it? What's the activities like? Oh, you're 6'2". Isn't that very interesting? Actually, my ex used to have a go at me. My ex wasn't very nice. Sexually, he was great in terms of he was good at sex and he was really different person. He was nice and kind like that. So I can't fault him in that way. But in terms of a lot of other things, he wasn't very good. He's quite abusive. So yeah, it's just because he's the last long-term ex I had. But he used to get a bit jealous because he's always used to be going on about me fancying foreign guys, and I had foreign boyfriends before I met him. Do you know what I mean? I was in relationships with foreign guys, not at the same time, before I met him. So I can't help it. I'll always be attracted to foreign guys. Always, I know that. But yeah, I like short, dark hair, clean shaven, preferably Indian, preferably Indian, Pakistani, or Sri Lankan's nice as well. Any of that type of area. But yeah, so I like a guy usually in his 20s because I like a really young looking guy. You know, the guys that can never age, that look like a kid all their life. Those are the type of guys I like. The ones that look like the boy next door. I like the guy in The Life of Pi. Have you seen that film, The Guy in the Life of Pi? He's very, very attractive to me. The guy who plays Aladdin in the new Aladdin movie, he's very attractive to me. That type of look, that's what I go for usually. Yeah. If I'm not asexually attracted to a guy, I can't kiss him. So all the guys I'm not asexually attracted to, that just completely cuts them out, which is mostly British guys. I live in the UK. I want to stay here because I love my flat. I don't want to live with someone. I don't want marriage. Don't want kids. Don't like sex. Oh, I don't give my age out. I'm 21 in mindset. That's it. And I live like a teenager. I don't give my age out. I don't like talking about my birth certificate age. I hate my birth certificate age. It has nothing to do with who I am. So I don't give it out. Nope. I especially don't give it out on my channel. I occasionally will give out a private message to a guy who's really interested in a relationship with me because I think that's only fair to be honest to him if he's serious about a relationship with me. If he's just like talking, like dating type thing, it's like, no, if you're not serious about me, you don't need to know. You know what I mean? It's not important. But yeah, no, I definitely won't give that on my channel because I don't feel comfortable about doing it. It's not who I truly am. So my birth certificate age has got absolutely nothing to do with who I am. Nothing to do with who I am. Like I'm clearly female, right? I'm not a female trapped in a male body. I'm not a male trapped in a female body. I don't wish to change my hair color. My hair color is natural. I don't wish to change my gender, even though I've got some male traits, which I'm quite happy with. I don't wish to like change anything apart from my birth certificate age. If I could legally change my birth certificate age, I really would, because I don't like it, because it's not true to who I am. When I was younger in birth certificate age, I was older. Now I'm older in birth certificate age, I'm younger. So I go out clubbing, like I've just mentioned. Like when I'm clubbing, most of the guys that are there in their 20s, you know, and they get tired and have to go home to bed usually, and I'm still out clubbing. And I don't drink alcohol and I don't smoke anything. And I'm there till the very end, like dancing non-stop pretty much for 3 hours, apart from going to the toilet, you know, so excuse me. And you might have noticed that I live like a teenager, you know. This is my Disney blanket, you know. So this is my Disneyland Paris blanket. So I love Disney. I'm a Disney girl. So this is like more of the asexual stuff I'm talking about now. It's got nothing to do with sex, I told you. I'm very sweet and innocent, really like that. That's what I mean. I've got two completely different sides to my personality. I do have a strong business side, and then I'm like a teenager girl side. So those are my two different sides of my personality. And I have a really passionate, sensual, asexual, asexy, sexy side to me. And then in the other way, I'm completely like a girl, Disney girl. So I have two completely different sides to my personality. That's all part of the same one thing that makes me up. So yeah, I've got my Mickey Mouse. Can you see? I got our Disney in Paris. It's actually a pillow, but a cuddly toy at the same time. So this is all the kids stuff. Like I go and watch kids movies as well. So I went last weekend, and I saw a movie, Farmageddon. So, you know, I like sweet, innocent stuff as well. If stuff's too sexual for me, I run a mile. I don't like it, which is why I said this is like quite, my grey areas are very strange. They're like very opposites a lot of the time. Can you recommend me what I must see on your page? Can you recommend me what I must see on your page? I'm not sure what you mean by the question. Can you recommend me what I must see on your page? Are you talking about my blog? Like in the description, there's all my links. Is that what you're talking about? So, for example, under any of my videos on my YouTube channel, there's my book links, there's my email address, there's my blog, I think that's my email address. In the about section, there's my email address. Yes, your videos. Can you recommend what I must see on your page? All of the videos, of course. I've been uploading videos since 2015. But I do live streams every day now since last July. So I do a chat show every night after 11 p.m. GMT time. So I'm on so if you're subscribed and you've hit the bell icon, you'll get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. Do you know what I mean? You're welcome to send a picture of yourself as well by email if you want. Have a look. But yeah, so it depends what type of videos you want to see. If you want to see the one, if you like masturbation, you'll probably want to see the reciprocated masturbation, non-reciprocated masturbation. There's solo masturbation, mutual masturbation. There's one completely about masturbation that is what got one of the highest hits. If you're looking for something to do with sexual stuff, if you're looking to do with something sweet and innocent, then watch the no sex movie reviews. There's tons of them. I've got a whole playlist of a load of them. I haven't added my latest one to the playlist actually. So I do know I hate sex, as you know, and I hate nudity. So I specifically try and go and watch movies that have got absolutely nothing to do with sex in whatsoever and no nudity in them. I seek those films out because I don't like nudity in sculptures, in paintings, on TV, in movies. I hate nudity. I really drives me insane. I think it's gross. And so I've got a lot of no sex movie reviews. And so if you're into watching lots of movies, I recommend that you go and watch my playlist, or go and like type on my channel no sex movie review, and you'll get a lot of them come up. Of course, you might get some stuff around the videos that's not from my channel with sex movies in it, which I can't help because that's what YouTube chooses, not what I do. But I've actually got a playlist. One of my playlists is no sex movie reviews. It's got quite a few on there because I do quite a lot of them and I love doing them. They're some of my most watched videos. For example, a lot of people love my movie reviews. I give away a lot of the plot though, so if you don't like stuff that gives away the plot, don't watch them because it will annoy you. But I do warn people. I talk really quite in depth about the storyline and how it's relevant and analyze it quite a bit. So that's why I give away a lot of the story, because I usually analyze it. Or like even a lot of kids movies, they got quite a lot of serious, in-depth meaning behind it. So like I said, I want to know more of you. You are a great woman. Oh, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. That's very, very sweet of you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, that's very nice of you. Oh man, I've got blushes tonight. I got an asexual guy saying I'm cute, and you saying I'm a really great woman. Thank you so much. I actually usually prefer to be called girl than woman, but seeing as you're a little bit older, I guess, I feel connected. Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I've gone blushing now. Blush. You've got me in silence. How dare you get me in silence? I'm joking. But yeah, I don't get silent very often. So yeah, it's really, really nice of you to be here, and thank you for taking an interest in my videos and my channel and me. I really appreciate that. Really, really nice. So yeah, and connection's important. Like emotional connections are one of the most important things. So yeah, but yeah, check out all my videos. You should just, it'll be there for hours though, because a lot of my live streams are like for 1 to 2 hours long. But there's some shorter videos about asexuality. So there's ones from Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. So this is my book, which does tell my personal story in it if you want to get my book. So that tells you loads. And it's got like 46 other asexuals in the book as well, real life asexuals. So you can actually understand a lot more about asexuality. It's a very good read. It's autobiographical, my bit, and then it's got all other asexuals in the back, in the rest of the book. So it's a very good read. And I've got this book, which is my fibromyalgia self-help handbook that came out in October last year. That's autobiographical as well, because I have fibromyalgia, but I just don't really pay attention to it. So it's how to manage your fibromyalgia, have less pain, more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star. And that's my Fibro Girl outfit. Can you see? This is my superhero Fibro Girl outfit. Woo! See, I'm a real life superhero. I love it. I love it. And that was taken at Asexual Meetup, actually, because I hold asexual meetups in my city. So that's me having a Chinese noodle feast. I don't know if you can see that. So yeah, but this is a great book if you want to like literally stop being depressed if you've got depression, or you want to like reduce your anxiety. But you have to keep reading it again and again, obviously, to use the tips. Some people like read books and they just put them down. It's like, no, with a book that talks about depression and anxiety, you have to keep refreshing your memory, especially with anxiety stuff. Because I used to have depression until 2012 and I got over that, which was the same year as my diagnosis with fibro, and explains how I got over that in here, and because it's autobiographical, and it explains how to have less pain and more energy in general in your life. So even if you haven't got fibromyalgia, it is really, really good read, I have to say, because I know the techniques work. They're transferable to anyone, a lot of the stuff in this book. And reducing anxiety. I've still got some anxiety, I admit that. Not as much as I used to. Relationship, my anxiety is my worst. So although I want a relationship a lot of the time, I can't actually be in a relationship most of the time because I just get too anxious about the whole thing. And I'm like, I'd rather stay single. It's less anxiety inducing for me. So yeah, I'm interested to know what you look like now. Send me a picture of yourself at my Gmail address, my asexualised at gmail.com address. You should just send me a picture anyway. Just why not? But yeah, I always get intrigued by people who are like you coming on my channel, saying about yourself. Yes. But anyway, yes, I digress. So yeah, it's really nice to talk to you. So I've gone very blushy tonight. I'm very quiet. What's the matter with Sandra? So yeah, I'm not used to all this lovey-dovey attention from people, I guess. It's really nice. Thank you to Richard and Dan. I appreciate you being here. It's really kind of you. So yeah, I think yeah, I don't know what to say anymore, but it's been a very interesting conversation, hasn't it, about lots of grey areas. And you might have noticed that I've completely done a U-turn from originally talking about grey areas of sexual behaviour to completely then talking about Disney movies and the fact that I don't like too much sexual stuff, and I like to cuddle cuddly toys, and I like my bed throw, because you have to understand that you can't really see my bedroom because I'm on my desktop, but I have a lot of young stuff. I don't even think you can see it. So you can see my pictures, can you? I'm turning this up a bit. So these are two of my favourite pictures I bought myself. You see, I'm a very romantic person. So these are by local artists, actually. They used to have their, you see the picture of the heart, and the other one below it's got like seagulls, like a beach scene. These are actually from a local artist that used to have his work in paintings nationally in a company called Athena, but the company went, I think the company's completely shut down now. I don't know if they got anything online still. His paintings used to be in Athena, which was a chain of stores, but he paints them locally, and these are his canvases, like mini canvases. So and that's one of my certificates. I got a business award for one of my Beat Redundancy Blues businesses years ago. I still got that. So these are like